Hello, I'm Sonny Dosanjh, and I'm glad you've taken the time to listen to one of my stories, or it's actually a short story from the book Permission to Walk in Peace. This is about military veterans healing from trauma, and it's told by veterans who have had the experiences on active duty, um, handrails, or what we call people who helped us when we came back into society, and then mending fences. But this particular short story, very short, about a minute, 2 minutes, is my first contribution into the book, and it's called The Door. It is a small miracle that I am actually here. Death came knocking on my door, and luckily, I could not hear it. Mind is lost, my body is heavy, my soul is out of reach. Existence has lost its meaning. Beauty has lost its allure. Love may be that who is knocking on my door. Pain and suffering have become normal. Sadness and despair tag along also. I lie at the bottom in complete darkness. The desire for happiness, it's gone. Joy and love, just words, empty. My spirit is broken. If there is a way forward, I know not of it. In darkness is each step taken. I am rudderless and directionless. I have no clue where I'm heading, and my journey is completely alone. My melancholy is visible. My face is frozen in time. I do not remember who I am. The knock on the door is louder now. I wonder if it is death or love. I open the door. This is my second contribution to the book. It's one page, very short, about a minute long. And my short stories are poems and prose, very short contributions, but they weave a pattern of where I was and what it took to get me to a better place. This one is called The Mirage. And there it was, hope eternal. It appeared seemingly out of nowhere. And that's exactly where I was, nowhere. But now I had a vision of somewhere where the birds sing, flowers bloom, somewhere where the best of humanity is on display. I wonder if it's real or a mirage. So I take a step forward into the mystic. This is my third contribution to the book. and it's called Farewell. It's about a minute long. From where came that love? Did I know what stirred my soul? I do not have the words, but I'll open my heart to you. Love pulls me in, draws me close. It's useless to ignore. It's hopeless to resist. So I pack my bags and depart to that calling from afar. Love is in my heart. I hope you know what that means. This is my fourth contribution to the book. It's about a 2 minutes, short stories that I contributed. And this one is called Falling Apart. Quote, the loneliest moment in someone's life is when they're watching their whole world fall apart and all they can do is stare blankly. End quote. F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. There's nothing you can do but stare. It's like watching a movie, but you're the main character. Everything is crumbling and falling apart. Job gone, money gone, home gone, kids gone, family gone, all life's memorabilia gone. Even sanity has left. You stare, and there is nothing left in your mind to fill the blank void of no thoughts. There's no one you can turn to. Who would or even begin to fathom what is transpiring? That's the moment you find yourself alone. Even well-wishers, like parents or siblings, have no idea of the magnitude of loss, grief, pain, angst, misery, desperation, depression, anxiety, terror, nightmares, catastrophes, and suicidal thoughts that are unraveling. There are no good luck charms, positive affirmations, or divine intervention that stops just not one thing, but everything. Your whole world just falls apart. Had I not experienced it to this depth, I would have said the obvious phrases like, this too shall pass, or look on the bright side, or you have your health. There are no words, no phrases that even begin to address the sheer magnitude of the fall. You are at death's door, and thus the blank stare, shocked into numbness. In the darkness, you lie. In the darkness, you try to think or feel your way forward, but it's all in vain. In the darkness, you have been checkmated. Game over. It has and continues to be the loneliest moments of my life. Watching 40 years of toiling, scratching, clawing to shape out an existence, and watch it all, everything collapse like a deck of cards. Thus, I know that's there. It's worse than death because you're alive to see it all break down. Everyone and everything departs, even love. So here I sit, and all I can do and stare blankly. This is my fifth contribution to the book. It's a one-pager, very short, about a minute long, and tells you of my journey and where I was at during this phase. This short story is called Homeless Bum. Sat on the concrete next to a homeless bum in front of a liquor store. I didn't realize the homeless bum was me. We both laughed out loud as the sun hit us squarely across our weather-beaten faces. Time stood still, and everything was okay. Another homeless bum appeared out of the light. He was smiling with the few teeth he had left. What a motley crew we turned out to be. No direction, no place, no particular hurry. The sun had moved on a bit, so it was my turn to give up my persona. I got up, smiled, and took my leave. I don't think I'll ever see him again. But nonetheless, the homeless bum that was seated is now standing. It's a start that I do not look forward to. Society is lost in this paper chase. It's easier and friendlier when I'm a homeless bum. At least I know what is true. This is my sixth contribution to the book. It's in the section, the third section, called Mending Fences. And it's something I wrote about as I sat with my dad one day. And it goes like this. It's about a minute long. The atmospheric river rainfall had done a number on our backyard fence. Pieces of wood lay scattered, and the fence looked battered. Dad, who's approaching 80 years, surveyed the damage, brought out his toolbox. His tools were a hodgepodge of items that he collected over the years. And so it began. He gathered a few odd bits and pieces of wood, sawed a few into shape, and began the repairs. I'd been making a plain omelet, throwing onto a couple pieces of bread, and asked Dad if he wanted a sandwich. He said yeah, and also asked for a glass of water. Put the food outside, and he first asked me to help with the repairs. No problem, I said, and got busy. There we were, father and son, mending fences. The fence still looked battered, but now it was held together with a few odd-shaped pieces of wood. It did the job. We both sat down next to the fence and ate our omelet sandwiches. He kept the bread crust for an old crow that visited us each day. We talked slowly about the simple things in life like bread and water. Sat quietly for a while until he raised a memory about his grandfather and grandmother. They were from the late 1800s, and he described how they lived off the land and were grateful for whatever the good Lord provided. As he spoke, he looked at me. Here I was, a broken spirit, and lost everything, essentially a disappointment in his eyes. He had high hopes for me. Instead, against his wishes, I joined the military, but I came back from the service as a shell of my former self. Don't get me wrong, there were a few moments of joy, But overall, I was living a life of failure after failure after failure. I eventually hit rock bottom. Then the bottom gave out. To catch me as I fell was my pops, my dad. He looked at me and said, "Good job on the fence." It was in that moment that a spark was lit. I could really see my dad. He was a simple man from humble beginnings, did the best he could. Now here we sat, looking at the broken and fragmented pieces of my life, and his light was shining on me. I saw the broken man that I had become, yet now I knew I was not alone. A doorway was shown, telling me to stop picking up the tattered pieces of my life and start fixing them. Don't know from where or why the storm had decided to batter our fence, but it provided us an opportunity to see eye to eye, start a dialogue to understand each other. The old crow had finished munching on the bread crust and flew away. What he left behind were two men starting to mend a relationship while mending fences. This is a perspective on my seventh contribution to the book. It's a very short 1-minute read, and it's called Energies. The energy of freedom is measured in time. Do you have the time to move as a whisper, not caring about who hears you? Are you free from mind and body, or imprisoned, surrounded by fire and brick walls? The energy of money is measured by food. Do bellies grumble from lack or groan from excess? Are you in a position to share, or does hoarding become of you? The energy of love is measured by light. The flame, the flicker in darkness does glow. And love eternal is visible for those who see it not with only their eyes. This is my 8th contribution to the book. It's a very short 30-second contribution, and it's called Healing from Disappointment. The tree stood alone, barren from the season of winter. The branches looked forlorn, the twigs brittle from frost. On occasion, a small bird would stop by, but it did not stay long. Time passed. Winter skies gave way to sunnier days. The morning dew came with its own potion of elixir. And gradually, as time moved forward, life within the tree began anew. On occasion, a small bird would stop by. But now it stayed and started to build a nest. This is my 9th contribution to the book, mostly short stories and poems. And this is about a minute long. It's called Disappointment. Much was expected. Succeed, I did. But when failure hit once, it was an exception. When failure hit twice, okay, its lesson was not learned. Now failure has hit 9 times, 10 times, and so on. Even family yells. Finally, I've learned that family doesn't always know. Finally, I've stopped listening to their negative dialogue. Finally, I've stopped. Now I move forward with blessings towards family. Now I move forward with forgiveness for family. Now I move forward. Tomorrow is a new day. Birds will be singing. Grass and trees will be smiling. So will I. Not disappointed in myself anymore. Even though everyone around me is, I'll move forward one moment at a time. And my 10th contribution is another short story, about 2 minutes long. And it's called Abandoned No More. Words are empty and hollow. Their whisper is the only proof that they existed. Now, they're gone. What replaced them? What could emerge from the silence? New words emerged, heartfelt words, words of sincerity, words of healing, words of inspiration, words of hope. I know not their origin, but I recognize their truth. Once they wove a tale of sorrow, of sadness, grief, despair, loneliness, and emptiness. Now the wheel has turned. Healing, hopeful, and valued words have taken their place. How did this happen? Who shifted the wheel? Why now? And then it hit me. It's the same as veterans in hospice. Nearing death's door, they put down their war baggage. The stimulus is a fellow veteran sitting by their side. It's a letting go. It's an unspoken word, unwritten word, but it's a moment that's understood without any words. I'd been ready to leave. Life had lost its meaning, luster, and allure. Love had left. Peace disappeared. Only pain remained. My life was broken. My sense of society's systems felt broken. I felt alone, was alone, and abandoned. To the words of torment, better to die by the whiskey bottle than to live by the words of gibberish. At the bottom, Mercy arrived and smiled. Did not recognize her at first, but she walked with me in the homeless food lines. She walked with me as I walked that homeless path. And her presence was felt as I lay on the floor each night. I'd been ready to leave. But just like a veteran in hospice, there was this, the feeling, the entity, or spirit, or understanding. So I called it mercy. realized I was not alone. From moment to moment, the whispers from yesteryear formed words for me to hear. Get up, get up, get up. Soldier on, soldier on, sonny boy. I yell, man, I exist. I'm not expendable. Can you help me? Can you walk this path with me? Stand by me. One last time, with honor, and remember, all gave some gave all, but I'm still here. Get up, get up, get up. Courage, hope, love, faith, truth, honor, dignity, valor, victorious. Now the words have life. Now they have meaning. Now the words smile at me. So I got up. This is my 11th contribution to the book. I do mostly short stories and poems. And this one's called Liberation. It's my 11th contribution. Liberation. I wish I knew what that meant. The more help and therapy I seek, the more I feel disconnected. I'm learning or relearning the simple things. Sleep, eat, sleep, eat. Eat what? I'm in the food bank line with all the others who are hungry. Feel like I'm the lucky one. Because nobody cares about how smart or educated you are. No one cares about the trials and tribulations that you've been through. They all have that same look of lost in the land of plenty. One thing's for sure, though, no one cares how you look. Come as you are. No one cares about selling you anything or wanting anything from you. Come as you are. It does feel like freedom. The line moves slowly along. It's been 2 hours. So I meditate, tell myself, isn't liberation wonderful? This is my 12th contribution to the book, and it's about 30 seconds. And it's called Lost on the Path No More. I looked at the devil, and he smiled. I looked at God, and he frowned. I looked at mankind, and was shunned. The path headed to sorrow. The path headed to despair. The path headed to goodbye. From where, I don't know, from where came a voice. From there, I was lost on the path no more. This is my 13th contribution, and it's about a couple minutes long. It's called I Am Home. He lay there taking his last few breaths. The little mouse was fighting for his life. Found the little mouse in front of the refrigerator. He was unable to move. Placed a plastic bag in front of him, cut a piece of sweet potato, placed it in front of him. Barely moved, but took 2 more steps. Gently, I nudged him into the plastic bag, and he went for a walk to the corner park. In the middle of the park where the sun hits the brightest, I found a squirrel hole. Undid the knot of the plastic bag, gently rolled him out into the squirrel hole. The hole was of perfect length. His head now lay on the dirt. His eyes were fading off into the mystic. His heart was fighting for his life. Placed a few bits of sweet potato around him, covered him with some twigs and leaves, leaving enough room for air and light. I knelt down beside him. Then the memory hit me. Over a decade ago, I was an inmate for several months at the county jail in Milpitas, California. We inmates used to save the peanuts from the chow hole, feed them to the squirrels. They were inmates also, but they acted free. One particular squirrel had lost the use of his hind legs. We called him Stumpy. Stumpy would crawl towards us all. He was not afraid. Whichever inmate was closest would feed Stumpy. Stumpy grew into the fattest squirrel. It became family. There wasn't too much else that we inmates could do, but we always talked about Stumpy. He was loved. Boom. It was early Sunday morning. Boom. Holy shit. Boom, 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 boom. Startled, I got up from the lower bunk, ran outside to take a look, see what's going on. I was not expecting that sight. An exterminator was doing his job. Lowered his cannon type of contraption, blew his ordnance into each squirrel hole. Boom, 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 boom. Turned around, walked back to the bunk, just sat there. That afternoon after chow, the inmates gathered as we usually did, without peanuts. It was silent. Now, I knelt down by this dying little mouse. On my phone, a Sikh kirtan, holy poem, was playing. Now, as an American Legion chaplain for Area 2, San Francisco Bay Area and Monterey Bay, as captain of the American Legion Honor Guard, District 13, Santa Clara County, Silicon Valley, for all 12 posts. As the service officer for the American Legion Post 419 Santa Clara, I knelt, said a prayer from my Christian upbringing. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I sang the sacred songs from my Catholic teachings as a young boy. Gaudete, Christos des natus, Maria Virgine, gaudete. I sang the prayer of my mother and my father from my Sikh upbringing. Ek onkar satnam karta purkh. I said the prayer verse for my Muslim friends. Allahu Akbar. I said the prayer verse of my Hindu friends. Om Namah Shivaya. I said the prayer verse of my Jewish friends. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. I held on to my meditative thoughts of love as Buddhist monks, Toltecs, shamans, and mystics were apt to do. The past was over. Life in the present was over for this little mouse. As the cold of winter struck his home and the last leaf fell from his tree, my heart, my soul, my spirit, my everlasting prayed for that little mouse, prayed for Stumpy and his friends, and prayed for all souls who had gone before. May they all realize warmth, blessing, love. May they all realize your light of divinity. May they all realize that they are home. And for your humble servant, may your words of faith awaken me to say, no longer shall I wander. No longer am I lost. Truly, it is an amazing grace that says, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I'm no longer blind. I choose heaven here on earth. I fought the devil. I bear the scars. Sacrifice I did my angelic wing. As did many a GI. Welcome home to all the warriors who live to tell their tale. We are home, so enjoy the spring, summer, and fall. And together we shall smile, sing, and laugh, for finally I am home. It's my 14th contribution to the book. It's called The Light of Fire. Winter had arrived. She pierced me. I did not know how cold winter could be. Now I know. Winter said summer had died. He had fallen. For death came knocking at his door. He answered. Now he's gone. Winter is here in front of you. My son is gone. Who are you? I looked into her eyes. Her tears were forming, vowing to stand for him. And then I looked into her soul. Kindled I did the sacred. Light the fire I did. And the tears fell. Winter gave way to spring. The title is called Military Veteran Dog Tags. 69 degrees on a beautiful blue sky, sunny day. Slight breeze, which makes the leaves rustle ever so quietly. I could be anywhere, but I'm here. What I didn't know was that I was still at war. My dog tags, ironically, got them on. Once worn on active duty, are now worn on a last confused veteran. I'm older now. It's become an automatic action of wearing my dog tags everywhere I go, worn visibly, I might add, on top of any short. I don't know why, but I need to change a few mindsets, but I didn't realize I needed to start with my own mind. A few years back, I'd gotten into a bad car accident. I remember the paramedics ripping off my clothes. I didn't care to survive. However, I did. Someone took my belongings along with my blood-soaked clothes and my dog tags, dropped them off at my parents' place. They thought I died. Time passed, but I had not. I once mentioned that I was lost and confused to a person who's not in a position to help. He asked, "Why are you so confused?" It was my mistake to ask a civilian about a military veteran's mindset. Just looked at me with disdain, disappointment, and lack of respect. Note to myself, stay clear of civilians. Thus the self-isolation and the downward spiral into alcoholism. These civilians are everywhere. I don't trust them. My mental war had taken its toll. I couldn't see it, but it was clear that I was fighting an imagined war. The price of this mental war was high. It cost me everything. The same day my ex-wife asked for a divorce, I went to work and got laid off. Within 1 hour, my world was turned upside down. How could this not be a war against forces that I cannot see? I thought I hit rock bottom. I had not. Several years later, I became jobless, homeless, and penniless. Prison system was calling my name. IRS was auditing me. Court systems wanted alimony and child support. Every credit card maxed out. Car in repo. Kids not talking to me. Couldn't pass a background check due to a court case. So no money, borrowing from family or wherever, ended up on food stamps. I was in the middle of a mental war, and I was losing the fight. I was losing even the energy or the will to live or to survive. I didn't care. I let go. To hell with it all. Letting go, it's liberating. I didn't care if I survived the day. Didn't care. Don't care about love, family, friends, money, sex, cars, sports, homes, food, drink, or a God I didn't understand. So the mental war raged on. Didn't care. My mind saw the enemy everywhere. They came at me in the dark, but they set me up during the day. Be wary of those civilians who smile. Be cautious of anybody in the military or veterans role. It's my daily mindset. They tried to kill me on active duty, but I survived. I've never trusted anyone in uniform again, ever since. How could I then trust somebody in a civilian world that didn't even understand the military mindset? So where could I go? I was lost. I was confused. And the old stoic motto of suck it up, soldier, didn't work for me. I was capable of hurting others badly. I needed to disappear from society. It's now 70 degrees. The sun is easing its way into my soul. It whispers to my heart about a young boy who once lived unafraid. There was an honor in being unafraid, fearless and courageous. Now it appears that there is no honor in letting go or giving up on life before it's run its course. So I try to learn how to die a dignified death. Perhaps like a warrior, but with no rank, military branch, or physical war. Just a lost and confused warrior fighting a mental, imagined war. Up to this point, I didn't have belief or faith in anything. All that started to slowly change as I let go. What more did I have but my breath? But then I realized, I could exercise a bit. And due to my status of poverty, I was lucky to have water, soup, and vegetable on a daily basis. I got this from a Sikh Gurdwara or temple, which provides free hot meals every day. So exercise and having both a spiritual and food diet became my norm. That's when the light within became lit. Not only with Sikhism, but Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, and many other non religious but spiritual practices. The divine had entered into my mind, heart, and soul. Grace has made its presence felt, and the Almighty took me aside to observe my thoughts about the imagined mental war. At the same time, a fellow American Legionnaire was walking by me and noticed my dog tags, nonchalantly asked, "Why are you still at war?" What? He just kept on walking, and at the time I didn't think anything of it. In our veterans book club, which resulted in this book, a Vietnam veteran commented about "I am the war" versus "I was in war." Boom. And just like that, that's connected. And I had the ability to observe the thoughts, saw that it was all imagined. And just like that, my mentality switched. The dog tags that I used to wear outside, I put them away. My imagined mental war with everyone, everyone was over. The hatred, anger, resentment, and those feelings of anxiety, depression, and suicide over the course of 35 years had subsided. An inner peace had arrived, calmness of spirit, and a newfound joy of being alive for one more day. It's now 71 degrees. However, it feels like I'm in heaven. The sun is softly warming me, and I feel like I'm embraced by the entire universe. I'm no longer alone. The God that is on the outside is also the God that is on the inside, the God within. For me, it's nameless, shapeless, formless, does nothing, but leaves nothing undone. Today, like I said, I still wear 2 dog tags. One with my name, and the other one is blank, anonymous. I didn't know which version of me was going to make it back. As of today, I'm transforming them from a symbol of war into a symbol for a spiritual warrior of peace. Is number 16, and it's about a minute long. It's called Common Ground. The word grounded appears to have a few negative connotations associated with it. I think of a flight grounded. I think of a career grounded. I think of a life grounded. However, this morning, I sat with my bare feet resting on the grass and soil. And I felt grounded. Life circumstance can ground a person in a negative way, but it can also do the opposite. Grounded in faith, grounded in nature, grounded with gratitude. So I asked myself, despite the journey that I've been on, can I still stand solid ground, rebuild my foundation, so that when others build on top of me or journey alongside me, they'll know they can count on me because our common ground is grounded with love. It's my 17th contribution to the book, Potato Duty. I'm not a peeler, but I have peeled. I was on potato duty, so I peeled. Did I peel enough? Maybe someone will tell me yes. I'm often asked to give speeches at various events and ceremonies. And this particular speech I wrote, and it got included in this book as my 18th contribution. It's called the Korean War Veteran Speech. You were never forgotten, not by those who care, by those who understand. What do we understand? One may ask. Duty, honor, sacrifice is my reply. In a faraway land, on the other side of our world, our young men were sent, approximately 1.8 million combat troops. Sent on a mission to do what? That still remains an open question since technically the two sides are still at a stalemate. Back then it was to stem the spread of communism across Asia. Troops arrived in 1950 and they fought for 3 years. The battle lines across the 38th parallel were clear. North Koreans, Soviets, Chinese to the north, Americans and a host of countries as part of the United Nations to the south. From one of the earliest battles, the Battle of Osan, to the Battle of Incheon, to the Battle of Imjin River, Battle of Bloody Ridge, Battle of Chosin Reservoir, Battle of Heartbreak Ridge, to the many battles for Seoul, Operation Commando, Operation Courageous, Operation Tomahawk, to the Battle of White Horse Hill. The cost to America was grave. Over 38,000 died. Over 103,000 wounded. Over 8,000 POW and MIAs. And 131 Medal of Honor recipients. Our leaders, from President Truman to President Eisenhower, Army General and Commander-in-Chief, Far East Command, Douglas MacArthur, Vice Admiral Arthur D. Strubble, United States Navy, Major General Oliver P. Smith, United States Marine Corps, Rear Admiral James H. Doyle, United States Navy, Lieutenant General George E. Stratemeyer, United States Air Force. Under their leadership, the Allies pushed back the North Koreans across the 38th parallel. Eventually, an armistice signed in July 1953 brought the war to an end. Over 5 million people had died. Some may have forgotten. Some may have never known. For others, perhaps it's a footnote in the history books. For those of us who are part of the American military family, we remember. Freedom is not free. Here at home, located just southeast of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., is the Korean War Memorial. 19 sculptures of servicemen on patrol in the fields. Their reflection, when reflected on a polished granite wall, become 38, representing the parallel that demarcates North and South Korea. Granite strips and scrubby juniper brushes suggest the rugged Korean terrain and vegetation, while wind-blown ponchos recall the harsh weather that tormented our troops and added to their misery. This symbolic patrol brings together members of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and portrays servicemen from a variety of ethnic backgrounds. The field of service culminates at the triangular dedication stone at the base of the flagpole. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. Ladies and gentlemen, if ever there was a reason to fight, then the model of South Korea, in a little over 70 short years, has gone from rubble and disaster to one of the global economic powerhouses. Once, where there was darkness, now there is light. I'm humbled and honored to be a part of this journey with my fellow veterans to recovery and healing. And my final contribution, number 19, is it's the 19th contribution, is a culmination of my downward spiral and then how I rebounded back. My final voice in the book is this. It's about a minute and a half long. It's called Crumbled, Humbled, and Welcomed Home. Crumbled is my life. Mind shattered into fragments of time. Body broken by father time. Crumbs swept away by winds with no name. Limbs weary from life's misery. Am I alive? Thus the squirrel threw an acorn at my head. The tree had many. And I laughed at my fortunate misfortune. Even the squirrel felt my plight, and kindness was shown, albeit now with a bump on my head. So I laughed a laugh that only the gods can understand. Laughter gave way to a smile. A smile gave way to gratitude. At least someone, a squirrel of all things, noticed my plight. And I was humbled. For now, Mother Nature saw her son. Mother, forgive me. Heal me, kill me, or let me go. As I lay there, the spiders, wasps, and bugs had their turn also. So I surrendered. Closed my eyes while laying down under the tree. And I started to fade off into the mystic. Welcome home, she said. There she stood, the divine feminine, nourished my masculine warrior soul. Welcome home, she said. Eyes opened. And a heart that was once broken now awoke to a new reality. Faith had welcomed me home. with your permission. Walk in peace. Marshall Bergamy, United States Marine Corps, co-author. Sonny Dosanjh, United States Air Force, co-author. Jamie Johnson, United States Army, co-author. G. Craig Edgerton, United States Marine Corps, co-author. Bill Noyes, United States Army, co-author. Joe Cochet, endorsement. Memorial Day 2025, San Jose, Supervisor Otto Lee, Colonel Ray Watts. Vietnam Veterans Pinning Ceremony with Karen Carter. Milpitas Mayor Carmen Montano. Congressman Ro Khanna with American Legionnaires. World War II Veterans, American Legionnaires. Saratoga Retirement Home Pinning Ceremony. Sergeant Arson, United States Marine Corps. Vietnam Veterans Day. Hospice Remembrance. Honor Guard. Veterans Day 2024. I'm humbled and honored to be a part of this journey.